morning, beloveds. It was absolutely a spectacular morning in the park today because it was about 69 degrees and there was a nice breeze. And the ROTC Marines were back in the park. So, I'm still not running because my knee's still aggravated. And so it was like, I was kind of whining. Honestly, I was kind of whining because I was like, I want to run so bad because it's cool and it's nice. And there were, a lot of people in the park. But I was behaving because I want to continue to run for a long time. And that means that I need to rest. And allow my knee to do its thing so that I can do this. But, it's been quite a, but fall. It is fall. There's definitely a change in the weather and it's really nice. And I can hear my husband in the other room yelling at the cat. So if you hear that, I apologize. Okay, it is September 19th. It is Saturday. It is absolutely a gorgeous day. I'm going to suggest you open your windows now and enjoy it, especially since there's, we've run out of names for the hurricanes. They're now using Greek alphabet, and we are in the cone of uncertainty in one of them. Okay, so September 19th, divine mind pervades every atom of my body. And there is no Bible quote today. Interesting. Spiritual substance is my physical perfection. No one knows exactly what the mind is, but we certainly know that it is something within us that enables us to be conscious and aware. We are told to let the mind be in us that was in. We are told to let the mind be in us that was in Christ. What can this mean other than that each should recognize the divine incarnation in himself? It was this realization of his union with good, with life, with God, that endowed Jesus with his miraculous power. There is one mind, which all people use. Each one is an individual in it. It is individualized in and through each. The mind of God in mind is Christ. This mind is not very far away. This mind is not a faraway presence, nor is it some future event towards which we travel. It is something that is already and forever established, that needs but to be recognized to spring forth into manifestation in our experience. This recognition can come to anyone at any time. We need not move away from ourselves to discover ourselves. What we do is uncover and reveal that which is already concealed at the center of our being. Browning tells us that this is an act of loosening the imprisoned splendor. To realize that there is but one mind, which we all use, is to understand the teachings of Buddha, Jesus, Plato, and Emerson. To enter consciously into communion with this mind is the secret of spiritual and intellectual power, of intuitive perception, and of divine guidance. He's going to make me work for it today. Okay. If you're not familiar with quantum physics, that's what this sounds like today. It sounds like quantum physics. Divine mind pervades every atom of my body. One of my teachers, his name is Christian de Quincy in ministerial school. His books are really interesting. None of which I can remember the name of right now, but Google him, Christian, and then it's D-E, and then a space, Quincy, Christian de Quincy. His novel with the dolphins was fascinating. And then he has, I think one of his books is called Blind Spots. And that one's really good too because it's short chapters and it talks about, but basically his premise was consciousness goes all the way down. So every single atom has consciousness. The parts of the atom, the neuron, the electron, the proton has consciousness. The quark, which is even smaller, has consciousness. The photon has consciousness. And then there's a difference between aggregate consciousness and integrated consciousness, I believe, are the terms. So the argument is, yes, a rock is conscious, but not conscious the way we are. We are an integrated conscious where all of the atoms that make up us are integrated into one consciousness, which is how we are intelligent. Whereas a rock, yes, every single cell in the rock has consciousness, or cell. Every single atom in the rock has consciousness, but it's an aggregated consciousness. Or I may have the two terms backwards. There is consciousness in it, but they are individual. So it's a rock being a rock, as opposed to what we are, where all of our cells are working together. All of the consciousness of our cells are working together to be us. It's quantum physics. It makes my head explode. I loved it. I loved quantum physics. All of it that I have studied, and I haven't studied near enough of it. But it's just, it makes you look at things differently. And it may give you more of an appreciation for living things. But it definitely, yeah. I mean, I look at inanimate objects and think, yeah, there's consciousness in there. So, okay, let's go, move on. Spiritual substance is my physical perfection. Physically, that's what you're made up of, is spiritual substance. No one knows exactly what the mind is, and that is true, because, oh my God, they're still trying to figure out the brain. I mean, honestly, does consciousness reside in the brain? And they're not sure. They don't think so. If you go and look at any of the brain studies, it's like the brain is definitely it's vital to our body because it runs our body. But is that where consciousness lives? No, it doesn't. They just don't know where consciousness lives. But we certainly know that it is something within us that enables us to be conscious and aware. We are told to let the mind be in us that was in Christ. We are told that the mind in us is the same mind that Christ used. Are we willing to open it up to the Christ consciousness? Because that's why we talk about Christ consciousness. It's like Christ wasn't a person. Jesus was a person. Christ is a consciousness that we adopt. What can this mean other than that each should recognize the divine incarnation within himself? I mean, you can't say it any clearer than that. What can this mean other than that each should recognize the divine incarnation of himself? Christ consciousness, divine incarnation within self. It is this realization of his union with good, with life, with God that endowed Jesus with his miraculous power. Which means if we are willing to unify ourselves with spirit that tightly, we would have the same miraculous power. And notice that I said willing. I didn't say can. Because we are capable of unifying ourselves that closely. But are we willing? We've been taught that Jesus is a great exception, that he was special. And yes, he was, but he wasn't born special. He was willing. He was willing on a level that so few of us have been. And he was willing on that level all the time. Because we see miraculous things all of the time. We see those moments when people are willing to adopt that Christ consciousness. And in those moments, they do amazing things. They don't stay in it. So it proves that we are capable of it. but our willingness is where we want to work. Because we haven't been taught that we can. But I'm telling you, you are capable. I'm telling me that I'm capable. I'm working on my willingness. All right. There is one mind, which all people use. Each one is an individual in it, that one mind. It is individualized in and through each. The mind of God in man is Christ. So when you are consciously using the mind of God, you are using the same mind Christ did. You are using the Christ consciousness when you are using it in the manner of good, of life, of inclusion. This mind is not a far away presence. And oh my God, I love that. This mind is not a far away presence. Nor is it a future event towards which we travel. Which is also the same, that heaven is right here, right now. Okay, so the mind is not a faraway presence. It's closer to us than our breath. It is not a future event, so it's not something that we have to jump through so many hoops to get to. It's right here, right now. The only moment is now. So that mind is possible right now. It is something that is already and forever established that needs but to be recognized. And again, that's where I say willingness. It's like we don't know that we are capable of it. We haven't been taught that we are capable of it. That is one of the things that Science of Mind is saying. Hey, there's a Christ consciousness out there. And it's available to you to the level of your willingness. So let's go back to how big is your cup of acceptance? Are you willing to accept the full Christ consciousness right here, right now? Or do you only want a little piece of it? Because if all you want is a little piece of it, that's totally okay. You are welcome to use as much or as little of it as you want to make your life what you want it to be. You don't have to become Jesus Christ. You do not. But you can if you decide to. So let's just think about that for a minute. That needs but to be recognized to spring forth into manifestation in our experience. Because it does spring forth in those moments when we need it. In those moments when we let our guard down, when we recognize that we need something more than we are. When we recognize that we are more than we think we are. This recognition can come to anyone at any time, and frequently does, in small bits, so we can string them together in our lives and look at it and go, oh, wait, pearls on a string. We need not move away from ourselves to discover ourselves. All right, that bears repeating. We need not move away from ourselves to discover ourselves. That's that old saying of, where shall we put their good? We'll put it on the highest mountain. They're smart. They'll figure out how to climb to the top of the mountain. Okay, well, let's put it in the depths of the sea. No, they're smart. They'll get there. Okay, well, let's put it out there. They'll figure out how to get there. Well, then let's put it in the one place they won't look. Right inside. We do not have to move away from ourselves to discover ourselves. Go within and see who you are. You are a divine spark. You are a child of God. You are capable of the Christ consciousness right here, right now, in this moment. You are capable of the full Christ consciousness. Or you're capable as much as you want. It is your willingness that opens that up. What we do uncover and reveal that what we do is uncover and reveal that which is already concealed at the center of our being. Browning tells us that this is an act of loosing the imprisoned splendor. Loosing the imprisoned splendor. To realize that there is but one mind, which we all use, is to understand the teaching of Buddha, Jesus, Plato, and Emerson. So all of the teachers are teaching the same truth. That consciousness is within you. That consciousness is willingness. To enter consciously into communion with the mind is the secret of spiritual and intellectual power, of intuitive perception, and of divine guidance. All right. Conscious. So, all right. So then what's our mission today? Well, I'm not sure today. Okay, so our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to realize that there is but one mind which we all use to understand the teachings. To realize that we are capable of the Christ conscious to the level of our willingness. We are capable of it. I think too many times we have been taught that Jesus was an exception. And he's not. He's an example. If we are willing to do what Jesus did and unify with the Spirit to the level that we allow it to flow through us, then we are absolutely capable of the power and the presence that Jesus walked the earth with. Because we're made of the same stuff. We are made of that same divine substance. All right. I'm going to move on. Do something loving for yourself. Do something kind for yourself. Do something compassionate for yourself. Whatever that looks like for yourself today and every day. It is absolutely a beautiful day out there right now. So please open your windows, get a fresh perspective, do something that engages your mind and your body. Take a look at your cup of acceptance and see how much willingness is in there. And don't let anybody tell you you have to have more willingness to do than you're willing, than you're ready for. This is your journey. Nobody can take it for you. Nobody can push you on it. It is absolutely your journey to take at your own pace. And so if you want a bigger cup of acceptance, please do what you need to do to get that bigger cup. And if you're good the way you are, then good for you. All right? Your happiness is what's important. Really. And Spirit wants you to be happy because you are a beloved child of God in whom Spirit is well pleased, always and forever. So, Reverend David will be on with you around 5 p.m. today. I will be back with you at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And then we will have an amazing service for you at 11 a.m. right here on Facebook Live. All right, beloveds. Have a wonderful day. And I will see you tomorrow.